Well, there I am again. Boy, I have a stack of questions. Whether or not I'll get through them all, I'm not sure, but I'm going to give it a try. Sitting here doing my taxes, thought I ought to do a little question answering. I don't know if you can see out the window there, but it's snowing here. Not heavy, obviously, or you would be able to see that pretty easy, but it's kind of dust and everything, and if it keeps up for an hour or two, we might get maybe a half inch or so. I was going to go out, get a little few things done at the grocery store and stuff, but I grew up in the snow and I know how to drive in it. And these Rebs, man, they're upside down, crossways and ditches, and they drive about 2 miles an hour. So I wouldn't be back till tomorrow, anyway. But I'm a Southern boy, but I was brought up in my mom's area where we had a lot of snow and stuff, and I learned how to drive on it. Anyway, let's talk about questions. The heck with the snow. This is from Daniel Rasmussen, and his question is, explain your role and responsibilities as a Master Chief Petty Officer. Well, I was a Command Master Chief, and basically what that means, I'm the senior enlisted at the command, and I am the senior enlisted advisor for the captain. I kind of keep him up to speed on what's going on, what's happening with the troops, everything of that nature. You have 4 responsibilities as Chief Petty Officer, and I've spoke to that question before. But looking after the troops is my primary concern, and I had several XOs, actually only one that I really didn't care for, and he kind of messed with the troops a lot. He was a little bit of a condescending twit, thought he was a lot more than he really was, but that's neither here nor there, and I certainly won't mention his name. That's family business. But basically taking care of the troops, looking after the skipper, keeping him up to speed on what's going on in the command, basically. And I'm the one that don't sugarcoat it. Matter of fact, several of my skippers, as their command master chief, threw me out of their office. Can't you just ever come in here and... I'm sorry, skipper. I never learned how to polish a turd. That must be an officer thing. I don't do that. So if you want to know what's going on, I'll give it to you. But I'm going to give it to you straight up, no ice. So there you go. Don't make me special. I just think it makes me a good Command Master Chief, because I was one my last 18 years in the Navy. All right, here we go. Next question. Ron Wilson. You guys ought to put in here where you're from. That helped me a little bit. Maybe I can pick on you. All right, let's see what he wants. Hoping to make new friends. Do I have some good friends that live in a little of my Army days, Army background. I ended up with Hershel Davis as not only a friend, also a romance advisor, firearms guru. Oh, this is just Ron thanking me. Oh, well, Gate. You know, Ron, I always look forward to hearing from you. I really like that truck you drive, that big 18-wheeler. I've probably commented on that before. Boy, talk about luxury. I couldn't believe all the bells and whistles you had on that thing. Beautiful. I told you all about learning how to drive an 18-wheeler up in Port Hueneme with the Seabees. And that's a good gaggle of guys. That's a good group. Let's move on here. M. Lawson, 238. I wonder if that's a class he went through. A lot of times that's what they do. Dear Master Chief, I have a 2-part question. Did Admiral Draper Kaufman, you spelled that with Kaufman, you spelled it with a C, it was spelled with a K. No problem, I just thought I'd let you know that. Start and have anything to do with the first SEALs, and was he a dual citizen of Royal Navy and U.S. Navy? You know, I don't know about the dual citizen thing, but he may very well have been. But there were no SEALs in those days. That was UDT. What was the other one? Navy Combat Demolition Units. And there was one other one. What the hell was that other one? There was 3 groups that were all made up, what you would call, and they're all part of Naval Special Warfare today. We honor them as frogmen because they went through a lot of similar type stuff. But good units. The Navy Combat Demolition Units worked in little 4-man teams, which are what we call elements now. Most SEAL platoons in my day were made up of 14 enlisted, 2 officers, and we had 4 combat elements, little fire teams. You could break it down into 4 squads, 8, and a full platoon of 16. Okay, what's the other one? Can you explain the difference between in what you did and the relevance of Fort Pierce? Well, Fort Pierce and what I went through, it's just the same thing, just different places. Same type training, carrying boats, swimming, blowing up things, exercising, running, swimming, PTing, pull-ups, no difference, just different place. That's basically the difference, that's all. That's where they originally started, Fort Pierce. Then they were trained out in Maui, and now we're trained in Little Creek, Virginia. Well, we were trained in Little Creek, Virginia, Naval Amphibious Base, and of course Coronado, where it's all the training is done now. In my day, it was called Underwater Demolition Team Reconnaissance, and now in this day and age, it's basic underwater demolition SEAL training. Did Navy SEALs ever carry a nuclear backpack called Saddam? You betcha. We jumped it, we walked it, we swam it. You betcha. Mark 19, Saddam. Went through Saddam School. Matter of fact, and I'm bragging, graduated #1, beat the officers. Always like to do that. But that's just me. I love my officers. I had great officers. It's just, you know how we are as Americans, we're very competitive. I just happen to be highly educated, and that's all, just like they were. I just didn't want to be one. I want to be an enlisted man. So I could operate to the last day of my Navy career, which I did. Okay, next question. Matt Anthony. Okay, this is pretty long, so let's get through this and see what we got. Oh, he calls me Mr. Davis. Yeah, that was my dad, Mr. Davis. I'm Hershel, if you want to call me Hershel. I'm MC, which obviously stands for Master Chief, or you can call me Master Chief. I'm very flattered by being called Master Chief, even though I'm not on active duty anymore. I'm very flattered when you call me that. No problem. But Hershel's fine too. Basically, he's just laying out his background. Comes from a lot of military in his family. Good on you, Matt. Me too. That kind of drove me toward the military. Of course, I went to military school and high school, and all my uncles fought in World War II. My mother was the baby of 12, so when I came along, everybody was old, except my parents. But yeah, my cousin was the top ace in the 5th Air Force, 8th Fighter Group, 34th Fighter Squadron. Shot down 14 in the Pacific and had 3 probables. As far as I'm concerned, he shot them down too. He was a crack shot. Had bird of prey eyes, binocular vision. About 1 in 10,000 human beings get that. That guy could read a newspaper across a 2-lane street in our hometown. Very good. Hate to see him pass. Richard West was his name. He was from my mom's side of the family, the Cherokee side. My grandfather was a full blood. And He was probably one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet in your life. They called him Samson of the Pacific. He's in Fighter Aces of World War II and everything. Quite a bit written about him. Very interesting reading if you're World War II is my hobby. But he was very superstitious. My mother's side of the family were very superstitious. I must come from the Indian blood, I guess. But when he got out there, he got the name Samson because he wasn't going to get a haircut till he shot a Japanese aircraft down. And after he shot one down, he was afraid if he cut it, he'd never get another one. So he had these real long goldy locks, and I guess you could do that sort of thing in the war, especially if you were out there doing what we were doing at that time, killing Japs. I don't like to use that term in this day and age. We're very good friends with them now, but they were Japs then. They're Japanese now. And I have some very nice Japanese friends that I really like spending time with. They're the most polite, most cultural, honorable people I believe I've ever been around. And one thing I really like about them is they don't allow any mosques in Japan. How about that? That works for me. We don't need any here either. You can't believe how many are in Florida. My God, they must have one on every street. They're encroaching. They're encroaching. Better learn about them. Get out there and get to reading. I study them every day. Get on politicalislam.com. Dr. Bill Warner. Sign up. I got a thing from him this morning. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, it's just, you can't make this stuff up. Just the truth. They have a little trouble with the truth when it comes to us infidels. Or kafirs. Another word they use for us. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you the words I use for them, so I don't want to offend anyone. There's one of my group out there that asks me questions. Mom is, I guess, a big fan of mine. And by the way, if you're watching, Mom, you flatter me. Love to meet you. I hope I can someday. You hang in there. Don't leave. Oh, Charlie. Handstand. What was the worst situation you have found yourself in? Flying through the air, I guess, after I stepped on a booby trap. That wasn't real exciting, but my life didn't pass before me. But I knew, at least I thought I was in deep shit. And I couldn't wait to get back to Earth, see what had been blown off of me. But nothing was. So, just severe contusions, hematomas. And I walked 5 clicks out. They were going to medevac me, but I didn't want to get on dust off again, because last time it took me a whole month to get back, a little over a month to get back to my team, or my platoon. So I walked out, and by the time I got to where we were going to be recovered, I had a serious case of elephant's foot. I had to cut my boot off. Well, just the lacings. I was able to pull it off after that. But that's probably about the worst situation. I guess getting shot, that'd probably compare with it too. Having somebody hose you with an AK is not a real exciting... yeah, it's very exciting. But you're really wishing you were someplace else. But I was busy trying to shoot him, so it was fair. He got the jump on me, but he got 2 fingers. He got 2 fingers and a trip to wherever it is they go.